Everybody with the Tri-State Sports Guys. I'm Mo. This is Mike. Tony D behind the glass. All right. Mike T behind the ones and twos. Top of Cape Ready Studios here in beautiful Norwalk. Let's get right into it, Mike. Today was supposed to be Game 6 of the World Series. It was rain out. We'll get into how that affects the teams, but I picked the Rangers in 6.
Yep.
You picked the Cardinals in 7, so we're both still in play right now. What do you make of this series so far? I have a view that I don't think a lot of people are going to agree with, but...
Well, I know. Look, I mean, I think it's been a good series. It's been a very entertaining series, I think.
Yes, entertaining.
Hasn't gotten great ratings at all.
Not a shocker.
That stuff doesn't really bother me as much. You kind of knew about it. The two markets, I mean, for whatever reason, Texas, the Rangers, they're not even getting great ratings down in Dallas, which is amazing to me. But,
is that right?
Yeah, not like outstanding ratings like you would think, but... considering a team's never won the World Series before, you'd figure they'd be getting a crazy share down there. But, it's like I think you said last week, it's a football town. But, I think it's been an entertaining series. I think, the things you look for, you want to see the stars play well. And, Pujols had that one amazing game that everybody will, talk about. And coming off of a bad game, which shows you the kind of player he is. Holiday hasn't been great.
You're being very nice right now.
I think that,
very nice.
If you were to take away the story of the series, and really this whole season he's been great, but Mike Napoli's got like 9 RBIs already through
his OPS is over 1,000.
Yeah, but I mean when you look at what he did during the regular season, he had 30 home runs and 388 at bats. And he put together just one of the all-time great seasons by a catcher. I really did offensively. You look at what he did and the amount of at-bats he got and what he was asked to do when they brought him in. And Ron Washington said even, he was surprised at how good of a defensive catcher he is. And I think he's been an adequate defensive catcher.
He hasn't been awful.
For a guy, which amazes me because you always see, terrible hitting catchers all throughout the league. And so you have a guy like this who has always had prolific power, in the limited role he has. But you figure, well, he must not be a good catcher because they're always trying to move him around. When you have a guy that's that kind of pop and he's an average catcher, which he's probably above average catcher at receiving the ball. He could throw runners out. I mean, how is that guy not an everyday catcher all the time? I mean, granted, he's got holes in his swing, but just for the ability, for the pop that he's got.
When you say he's got holes in his swing, I mean, he was awful last year. That people wonder why Socha got rid of him. He hit 220 for the Angels.
He had a lot of home runs.
But, 170 thrown in the swing position. A guy's hitting he hit 300 this year. So how does he have holes in his swing? There's got to be a hole there somewhere. Because he didn't just turn it on.
Yeah.
But... I still don't get your boy Ron Washington. Everything seems to be working, except early in the series. But why is he still batting 8th? But what's unbelievable
he didn't
is
bat 8th of game 1. He started out. He's batting 5th or 6th.
He bats 8th every game, and you think he's a moron. But then, sure enough, he comes up with the bases loaded every time.
Can we talk about? I mean, you hate Ron Washington.
I think Ron Washington has a lot of Jerry Manuel in him.
After our show, you were texting me all about how he screwed him up. And
he did screw up. He's got a lot of Jerry Manuel in him.
Right. He should have put in a guy who's 1 for 26 career as a pinch hitter. That's a good spot. Good spot for him. No, you're right.
Yeah, he should have.
Okay. But that would have worked out.
Well, let me make my point about that pinch hitting situation in Game 1. He has 3 catchers. He didn't have 3 catchers last series. He only has 3 catchers, and he said he wanted more flexibility out of Torrealba. What flexibility do you want other than to be able to pinch hit the guy?
Yeah.
So instead, he doesn't pinch hit him. He pinch hits a guy who hasn't had, I'm not talking about a hit or success, he hasn't had an at-bat in 24 games, which is probably like over a month, 30 days, let's say.
Yeah.
In a big spot. He promptly strikes out. The next day, the same situation comes up, and he brings in Torrealba. So if you're so sure that this was the right move, why?
Look, I don't think it was...
They're both awful. But my point was...
You're acting like Torrealba is this great player. But he's not a good hitter, and he's an even worse pitcher.
But you have a third catcher on your team specifically so your catcher
I don't think that's specifically the reason why. I think you have it because you're playing against a National League team, which in an extended series, they don't have an emergency catcher. Whereas in an emergency situation, the Cardinals will be able to put in a Punto or one of those guys. Yeah, but an American League team, they don't ever need to carry 3 catchers because they're not pinch hitting for guys late in games.
But in the American League situation, they use their catcher as their DH or first baseman, so they're always at risk of losing a catcher.
But they can always put that guy in at catcher,
and then they lose their DH.
Well, then somebody else. You would put somebody in for if Torrealba's catching, he would get hurt. You would put him in there, and you'd have a
no. But if Napoli's your DH, which he does a lot.
he does.
My point is I took it that way. But you know what? The reality is they're winning.
Right.
And I'm sure you're going to get into La Russa in a second.
But you said you had an interesting take on the series to date. So tell me about it.
I don't know what it is. Listen, I've watched these games. Albert Pujols in Game 3. I'm glad I watched the whole thing. I stayed up for that last at bat because I just was like, you know what? I'll be annoyed if I go to sleep and he hits the third one. And I watched it. But he is take away that game. He has played awful.
Surprisingly defensively.
He is. He's 5 for 18 in the series with 3 home runs and 6 RBIs. And in that game, he had 5 hits, 3 home runs, and 6. He's 0 for 12 in the rest of the series. He's made a huge error. He called a crazy hit and run. And I don't mind guys like that because apparently Tony Gwynn used to call hit and runs. He didn't even swing at the hit and run that he called. And then when they called it in the 9th inning, in a must-contact situation, the best player in baseball, probably the best hitter in our generation, can't make contact.
Yeah.
And that box. So he's playing awful. It's a lot. It's very easy, easy in quotes, to pad your stats when it's 17-6 or whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean he was a big reason why they.
No doubt.
But I agree with you. He is not.
I'm surprised. I thought.
I mean I agree to a point. Like when
really
I said
bad.
when you go into a series you want to see the stars play well. Granted, he has not played well. That one game is what you're going to take away from this series. You're going to remember that a couple years from now, that game that he had.
You'll always remember that.
Yeah.
Great game. But he's played awful.
He really has, which is weird because he is one of those guys that, for a prolific home run hitter, he does usually make contact. There was a guy that was listening to ESPN radio, I think 2 mornings ago, or no, it was yesterday morning, and they were talking about the hit and run play. And they said that for the season, hit and run, what are you trying to do? You're trying to go the other way. He only had 11 base hits, singles to right field all season, and 30 whatever home runs. So you're playing the average law of averages is a terrible job. Because I mean, although he can go the other way, he doesn't go the other way for singles. He has power the other way, but he's not. That's like you say, Tony Gwynn used to call it. He does not have back control like Tony Gwynn.
No doubt.
But it's a totally different swing.
And I also think La Russa was being very kind, and he's very old school, so he doesn't want to. He's certainly doesn't want to throw his team under the bus. Certainly Pujols.
Yeah.
But he's saying, well, Albert usually tells me about these things. This time he chose not to. This is an interesting time to choose not to tell your manager. Just so you know, coach, in the 9th inning, if this guy gets on base, I'm going to pull it, hit and run. This is not the time to stop telling him those things.
Now, last week we praised Tony La Russa, both of us, and you
because he was
begrudgingly because you're not a huge Tony La Russa fan.
Yeah.
Knowing you from talking about
fantasy.
He
overmanages, yeah.
But what do you make? What really happened?
I'm going to tell you what really happened.
Tell me what really happened. Because I don't believe anything that I've read so far.
No, see, I believe a little of it. You're more of a conspiracy guy, I think.
No, I'm really not. I don't believe in conspiracies at all. But I just
in this situation, no, because I know your thoughts on this were that it's crazy. I believe that he called up and he wanted the lefty.
Yeah.
And he wanted Mott up.
Mott up, yeah.
But apparently he was thinking as he called. And it's louder, so he called and said, "Get Ripchinsky up, whatever his name is." And he paused, and the guy then, all right, he hangs up.
And he said,
and La Russa doesn't realize that the guy's not on the phone, which is weird to me. We'll get into that in a second. And then what I don't understand is, at some point, doesn't he look out there? Now, granted, they if you're not really paying attention, they have the same build. They're all these stocky guys. But I don't understand the whole situation. He'd already said before the game that other guy, Lynn, wasn't going to pitch. He'd thrown 50 pitches or something the day before.
Right.
So I don't understand why he thought that guy was getting up.
You ever remember a similar situation in your entire life?
No.
You've been following sports, baseball since what, 85 probably?
But I don't understand, why don't they have the phone in a little booth that you can hear? This is clearly not the first time that it's ever been loud in a stadium. Am I wrong? It's been loud at stadiums.
Right. How about some sort of confirmation? Typically, though, they also call again to say, hey, how is he doing? Why didn't he call up and say, hey, is Mott ready? Normally, you know what I'm saying? Like, are they not checking in throughout the course of him warming up of saying, hey, I'm going to come get Mott. Is he ready? Before going out there. You always see him on the phone before they go out to the mound.
Yeah.
So to the fact that he said he walked out there and was shocked to see it wasn't Mott coming in the game. It's just mind-boggling. It can't be as simple as, like, what you're saying, in my opinion. I don't know. Either that or he's just... Like you said, he just had too many things on his mind, and he just took it for granted. Whereas, I mean, even in these stadiums, it says warming up in the bullpen on the screen.
I also blame.
You just say, well, I don't see Mott up there.
I blame the bullpen coach because I think that if I'm the bullpen coach, and I know Tony La Russa's got 7,000 things going on, And
be on top of that.
And he says, get Lynn up. And I know that we've already discussed
you
Lynn's
want
not
Rick Vaughn?
pitching. I'm going to say, you sure you want Lynn? He threw 46 pitches yesterday.
Right.
Maybe he'll say, you know what? F you. I said get Lynn up, and there you go.
Yeah.
But at least you got confirmation.
Right.
But in your mind, you have to know that's a weird thing to say.
100%. If you're the bullpen coach, I mean, you're more than just an operator on the end of the phone.
Exactly.
You know, just sitting there like, oh, well, I know he just threw a ton of pitches, and I know this spot calls for Mott to be up.
Yeah.
You know, the way that they use Mott, they don't call him the closer. They'll put him in when they need him.
Well,
But at the end of the day, I mean, it doesn't mean that Mott wouldn't come in and terribly, because I don't think he's going to.
What happened was he came in and he struck Andrews out, so everyone was making a big deal.
Right.
You're now going to see TVs like they have in
Oh,
Toronto.
it really will, yeah.
But I still don't understand. Like, I always wonder in football when you see those quarterbacks after they throw a big pick, they go over to that little table and they pick up the phone. There's 100,000 people screaming. How can you hear anything? Shouldn't there be a little booth?
Something.
This is technology. We still have old school rotary phones.
Let's get into the rain out today. Obviously, I'm happy because we would usually be missing this game because we're doing the show here. So we'll get to watch the game. Clearly, it helps St. Louis. I think you'd agree with that.
Because now Carpenter can come back.
Now Carpenter will be able to come back Game 7.
Their bullpen is rested.
The bullpen gets another blow. I think that, I like Jaime Garcia anyway in that spot. You know what I mean? So I think that the next two games line up in their favor. I mean, I think, obviously you'd want to be up 3-2, but this is still a toss-up series, I think.
It's obviously a toss-up series, but I would say that the range, Jaime Garcia, what he has going for him is that he, at least this year and probably historically, is very good at home. Mm-hmm. Very like ERA under 1 type stuff. Colby Lewis, if I'm the Rangers, this is the game. Colby Lewis is their ace. He's the only guy pitching with C.J. Wilson. Forget him. Mm-hmm. Colby is the only guy pitching well consistently. This is their chance to win this game. I don't trust Harrison.
Oh, no.
Who they say they're starting Harrison over Holland. I don't trust any of those guys. They can all pitch well. Colby Lewis has pitched well for 2 years now in playoffs. Mm-hmm. If I'm the Rangers, this is the game I have to win.
How early you think they have a hook on Colby Lewis and put in Ogando and let him go? And how long you think they'll stretch Ogando out? Will that be a spot
I don't
where
think they will. I think that, and this is where I think that a guy like Ron Washington, maybe I'm just assuming, I don't think they've used Ogando correctly at all. Yeah. I think they keep using him for these 2-inning things.
He's been good.
He's been good, but here's a guy who all year had a lot of rest, and now you're getting him on no rest consistently. It's like, and he was great in the first round, and he's awful this round.
Yeah.
So I think he's not being used correctly. What I would think would happen, I think Colby Lewis is going to go 5 innings. They're going to try and get 5 out of Colby Lewis. With the thought that I still have Game 7.
That was my bigger question.
Yeah.
Do you think they play this is a must-win because we got Carpenter coming in Game 7? We don't want to lose momentum. We don't want to play a Game 7 on the road with their ace. So that's what I'm saying. Will they have a quick hook on Colby Lewis and saying, "Look, I don't care. We're not saving anybody. We're gonna try to win this game at all costs." You don't think so? I think they should.
Maybe they should, but I don't think, to be honest, if things go the way they have been, the Cardinals haven't shown that they're going to do anything that is going to. I mean, Holiday's been awful.
Yeah.
Now, they're probably a better home team, I'm sure, but I just think Colby Lewis seems to match up well against them because he throws strikes, and if you throw strikes against a team like that.
He's another one of those guys. How does he not get hit when you watch him?
He's one of those guys. You go back, you're 0 for 4, and you don't understand how you didn't get hit every time.
Yeah.
But he throws strikes and he keeps the ball down, which is interesting because he's a fly ball pitcher. So I don't know how he keeps the ball down, but he's a fly ball pitcher. I still believe the Rangers are going to win this.
Yeah. Still like it in 6 then.
Well, yeah, because Hamilton has now come back and he's hitting the ball well. Mm-hmm. This day can help him. Cruz has been all right. Napoli's on fire.
Yeah.
And I told you, my key to the Cardinals were for Carl. He's done nothing. If he continues to do nothing, they have no shot. Trouble. But if he does, then we'll see what happens.
All right, good.
Let's do some. What do you want to do? Let's do football when we come back. We'll be back with the Tri-State Sports guys.